outside the line of the game. One couple of questions.
Yeah, fire away.
What is the favourite club?
We've got to say Walsall. I didn't have the best time at your club, but I enjoyed myself. It was a good year. Loved living in Birmingham. Made some really good mates. Just unfortunately, I didn't play that very much, so it was disappointing. But my best time was Swindon. Loved it. 3 years, success from the first day. Really, didn't quite get promoted, but had some playoff campaigns, lots of goals, loads of happy memories.
That's it. Played with you, so obviously 2002. Who was the best player?
Oh, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to have to say Troy, aren't I? Troy Deeney. Yeah, no, he was. I watched a lot of him from the bench, so I got a good view of him. Him and Darren Byfield had a good partnership, and just quickly, the first day I ever saw Troy in training, I heard about him that he scored a few goals. I thought he was just going to be a target man, old-fashioned, but very good player, good feet, good awareness. Took me by surprise. A little bit surprised to the level he's gone to achieve and the time he's had in the Premier League. But no, he was a class apart. Done brilliantly.
What's the favourite ever goal?
Favourite goal would be a goal for Swindon Town against QPR. My first year, which was 2003, and it was at the county ground. It's my 20th goal of the season. And it was a bit of a dribble past a couple of players and slotted it past the keeper, and it was against the team I supported as a boy, so always been my favourite really.
Who is the favourite manager you worked with?
Favourite manager would probably be two during that period as well. Andy King at Swindon, really enjoyed playing for him, got the best out of me, knew how to get a performance on the Saturday, told me I was brilliant every day, that's what I needed. And Joe Royal probably, I love Joe, took me to Ipswich, big move, top manager for a number of years, very gentle soul, and someone I love playing for because of kind of meant I'd made it to the relative big time, so it was great.
Would you ever consider going into management or coaching?
I do a bit of coaching already, but not really interested in going back into the professional game. I think my 15 years, 16 years is enough. Served my sentence, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. I like talking about it and analysing the game, so it's been a really good few years and enjoying it.
Finally, what is score prediction?
Score prediction, have I got to stick with what I told the Leyton Orient guy?
It's up to you.
I said 2-1 Orient to him, but I've changed in the last 10 minutes. The conditions, I think it's going to be kamikaze defending. I think another Orient defender's going to fall over. 2-2.
On to Alan now. How did you get into football?
That's a good question. I have always been obsessed with football growing up, like so many people, but I also was obsessed with TV and radio, and I really wanted to find a way to get myself on the radio, to get myself on the TV. Basically, when I was a student, I used to do as much student radio as I could. So I was always badgering people to let me on the radio, give me a go. And at that time, you could make lots of mistakes. You could learn how to do things well, how to do things badly. And it was just a great way to sort of practice and get better without having much pressure on. And then when I graduated university, I set up a podcast with a friend of mine, talk about the EFL. It's called Not the Top 20 podcast. Been doing that for 4 years now. Twice a week we talk about all things EFL, and again, the beauty of a podcast is to start with no one was listening, so we could really find our voice, we could find how best to express ourselves and how to talk about EFL football in an entertaining way, and then just got really lucky with opportunities with Quest on the highlights show and with Sky as well, so I've been really lucky with the chances that we've had and being able to talk about football on TV with former players and managers. It's the absolute dream come true.
What teams do you think will get promoted
from League Two? It's really tight. I think we're basically a quarter of the way through the season now, and you could say we've got 4 teams going up. You could say there's probably 10 or 12 teams who still have absolutely every chance of it. I feel like Bradford are sort of slowly growing into the season. They've got a really strong squad, manager who's done it before, so I do think they'll go up. And then I feel like it might be the year for Newport County. They've been like really good League Two team, and they've had some amazing cup runs in the last few years. They just fell in the playoffs last season at Wembley, and I just think they're a little bit stronger. They know who they are, they know the division, and I think they'll be up there as well.
On form, who's the best player in the EFL and could move on to better things?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. Funny enough, one of the best players I think in the EFL is Pablo Hernandez, who plays for Leeds. But because he's 35 years old, it's unlikely that he'll go up to Premier League level. There's a player for Brentford called Saeed Benrahma. He plays off the left wing for them. He's early 20s, and he's not the most consistent. But last season, I think double figures for goals and assists. If he stays fit this year, he'll do the same again. And Brentford, as we know, very good at selling their players onto the Premier League. So I think he could make it.
Who do you like watching the most in the EFL?
In the EFL, that's a good question. There's so many different styles, isn't there? That's what makes it brilliant. When Leeds are playing well, when they're pressing the opposition, when they're attacking with pace and directness, they're an absolutely brilliant watch. So I think Leeds in full flow would be my answer there.
Thoughts on Walter's start for the season?
Yeah, tricky, but I've been impressed with the last month or so how everyone seems to have sort of got their head down and started working towards improving the form rather than moaning and complaining and getting worried about things. And I'm not surprised because Darryl Clarke's a manager who's had so much success with Bristol Rovers. And I think he's building a similar sort of team. I think Walsall are going to be the sort of side with Darryl in charge who, when the season gets going, when the games are coming thick and fast, actually his style is going to work really well for picking up wins in close games. That's what he did with Rovers. Just starting to see it now with Walsall. The defence is great, isn't it? So it's just about getting a few more goals.
What is your score for tonight?
I think it's going to be 1-1. Just with Walsall games at the moment, it's hard to predict goals because very solid defensively, lots of bodies behind the ball, but maybe just struggling to score. So 1-1 for me.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well done, mate. Brilliant.
Nice one.